Hello there. Okay, let's get to our leadership mentoring and coaching. So this is the assessment of the part that I'm asking for, and then the other part is what Lewis is asking for, which is about the risk and supervision. Okay, my outcome is what I want from you is for you to describe one example that if you have seen in your workplace of a leadership example, coaching, and that's going to say and mentoring, not all mentoring. Okay, so you may have seen a situation where someone has actually taken control of the situation and they've actually been really good at analyzing and knowing what to do in this situation, or they may not have been very good. So you need to describe an example of each when you've seen something like this happen, or even when you've done it. I'm sure that you've had to coach a few members of staff into around certain pieces of equipment or your organization, and you've actually had to not only orientate them, you may have to do some coaching. Once we learn about all the qualities, you're going to find out if you thought you was a good coach, or if on the other way around, you was coached by someone else. Did you think they were good, or did you think they were bad? So an example of each of leadership, coaching, and mentoring. Once you've done that, you're going to pick one and you're going to break it down and see if they demonstrated or didn't demonstrate the qualities. And the qualities are what we're going to go through next. Here we go. So leadership. Leadership, here's just a little brief overview here. It's basically someone that can influence and power a group of people to help them to achieve the goal that the leader wants. The leader wants to make sure that he can control these people in an effective way and to also to get them to get the best out of themselves. That's a good leader. Not so much. This one is, because they're all standing united together. Okay, here are some leadership qualities. So just going through some of these. In class, we break these down. We talk about why we think they're actually a good quality of leadership and what you would expect from a leader. So you want them to be honest. And I hope I don't offend anyone here. I'm going to say sorry before I start. So with the likes of Donald Trump, if you go through some of his scenarios on YouTube, he made a lot of stuff up. He didn't even research and find the actual facts. So he led people to believe a lot of lies. So he wasn't honest, to be fair. But then in some areas, he was honest. He talked about his money a lot, which was great. Confidence. Good and bad leaders have that. So some leaders who are absolutely awful and evil, they are confident. Okay, so you can get leaderships with these qualities, but it doesn't mean to say they're going to be a good leader or a bad leader. I don't want to say bad. I don't want to say horrible leader to lead you into doing things that you shouldn't be doing. But they have these qualities. You'd hope your leader was an inspiration. You'd love to become what your leader is, take over that role. Your leaders should be committed and actually should be passionate about their job. They should love what they do. Obviously, not all the time, who does? But that passion will always come off and go off to the people that they are leading. Great communicator, absolutely. Not say one thing and do another one thing. That goes to decision too. And when I say great communicator, if they are second language, if they are hard of hearing, if they are sign language, how are you going to get the best you can to communicate with that particular person or that particular group as well? You want to break down some walls possibly. Get on their level. Decision making capabilities and hopefully the correct decision. How do they know that that decision is the right one? Hopefully they've done their research and they've been advised. If the decision's not the correct one, they need to be accountable for that. They need to put their hands up and say, that didn't work so well. The evidence that I researched obviously was not correct. That's my backup. But I hold hand on heart, I'm accountable. Also, if your leader has taught you and told you to do something and you got in trouble for it, they have to own it. It's not your fault. They told you how to do it. So yeah, being accountable. The best leaders actually delegate and teach how to delegate. And if they are delegating certain tasks, they're going to teach whoever they're delegating the task to be able to do that task the best they possibly can. You can't delegate if that person does not do very well or can't do it. Delegation is about picking the correct person for the correct job, which also takes the ownership of the leader, doesn't it? So yeah, empowering his staff, or her staff, empowering the public to do certain things for themselves. I love that delegation empowerment. Creativity and innovation. I mean, if we taught this class exactly the same way as we did 10 years ago, my golly gosh, it would be boring. So we're always looking at new ways to be creative in our delivery. And we're always going out there and asking, hey, what's new now? What is the most common thing that comes into your rest home? In this area, what is more obvious than in other areas? Because obviously we go and teach in smaller communities. So being creative. Empathy. That leader, no matter, should get to know you. So when you go with them with a problem, when they know that it's real, they need to be empathetic and understand where you're coming from, not just harden up. You can do this. Don't be so stupid. You've only got COVID. Come on in. So empathy is a big one. Feel like you want your staff or your friends or whoever you're leading to feel like they are being needed, to feel that they are being liked and valued. So empathy is massive. If anyone's watching Married at First Sight, there's one girl in there that has no empathy. Okay, so these qualities is what a really good leader has, and that she can capture the people that they are leading. In your example, pick one of your examples. If you are picking leadership, in your example, did any of these qualities stand out to you? And why, and which part, and why was it good? And did any of these qualities, were they not there? And if they weren't there, sometimes you don't really have to always explain why they weren't there because it might not be relevant. But if they weren't there and you felt like they actually, if they had this extra quality, they'd be better again, maybe pop that in there. Okay, so it might be in my example, they were a great communicator. I could feel their passion coming across to me. They were confident in what they were saying. They were empathetic, knowing that we didn't have much time to do this, that, and the other. But then they might not have delegated the right thing to the right person. And the person they delegated to go and do A, B, C, or D actually didn't know what to do. That was silly. So, yeah, something like that. I hope that makes sense. But I hope also you realize you could have the most evil leaders like Hitler in the world, and that person has got all these qualities, hence that he managed to have everyone follow him and do what he asked to do. North Korea, apparently quite a scary leader. He's got all of this, okay, all of this. So leaders, as long as they got the qualities, they can be anything they want. And you're going to have these qualities, but you're going to be amazing. Okay, so this is what we do in class. We talk about leaders in these areas, and then we talk about good leaders in the areas, and then we talk about bad leaders, why they are bad leader, and we reflect on, but they have all those qualities. Wow. Cool. Okay, coaching. Now, coaching is a breakdown of a leader, really. If you're a leader, which is a bit like a manager, a CEO, a prime minister, someone who is up there that has to have knowledge of everything, not something in specific. Whereas coaching normally has in depth knowledge of a certain area. So, not quite, but thinking off the top of my head, like my knowledge is mainly all about the human body and anatomy and physiology. I could coach that area really, really well. When I have to teach something that Lewis is meant to be teaching, I'm not a professional in that area and I have to do a lot of research and I have to back myself up. So, yeah, I'm a coach in anatomy and physiology. It's like a coach in rugby. They're brilliant rugby coaches, but you ask them to coach tennis, they'll still know about fitness, but the skills, not so much. You need an actual tennis coach to go and learn those skills. So yeah, the knowledge and depth in that area. Now, a really, really good coach has to have motivation. It's so easy to lose motivation, especially when you're struggling in a certain area that you want to master. So motivation, having positive attitude and passion. To be able for that to work, though, you need to know the person that you are coaching. How do they buzz? What makes them tick? What's their personalities like? Would they rather be constantly motivated or left to their own devices to conquer it? So get to know that person. Think about how you're going to get to know that person. So if you are doing an orientation role, as you're walking from A to B, talk to them. Ask them, have they lived here long? Who are they here with? Do they have family? What's their hobbies? Obviously not being too invasive, but get to know what sort of they like to do outside of work rather, sorry. Yeah, a coach, a little bit different to a leader. If you're going somewhere, let's say to a sport or to a class or to an art class or a flower making class or meditation, you expect the coach to be there to coach you how to do that particular thing. If you get there and they're not there, it's going to be a little bit not very nice, and you're going to be a little bit angry. So that coach needs to be consistent. Okay, always need to be consistent, and always be the same. Not change his personality. We're all allowed to have good days and bad days, but that coach has to be consistent. You don't ever want to be scared of your coach, so you can't ask them questions, but you also want to know they got a little bit of authority, but you always have to be approachable. And of course, the key communication, the key quality is communication. They have to have good communication. They have to know that you're getting it. If they're coaching you something, they have to have feedback that you've learnt it. I could just stand in front of the class all day and teach, but I don't know that you've learnt it unless I get your feedback, unless I get you doing games and activities, unless I get you asking me questions. Okay, so how do you know that they're getting it in your communication style? So that's good coaching skills, and I guarantee you are all coaching right now in your career. So start thinking of these certain qualities, and are you adding them into your life, into your working life? I'm sure you are, but I'm sure you know why you have to be like you are. There you go. In class, we might have talked about how can you include some coaching skills to motivate the wellness of your client. Your client might just be losing a little bit of pizzazz and thinking, oh, well, you're going to do it for me anyway. Why should I bother? What can you do to motivate that client? Find out what the hobby is, find out what they want to do, and then motivate them. Oh, well, if you get dressed now or we have a quick shower and get dressed, we can go and do that. Where then that task has only taken an hour, whereas probably normally was something you struggled and hated to do all day. I don't know. You can discuss that. And how can you include some coaching skills in your workplace to motivate the team? Okay, every industry is different, but you can see by doing some icebreakers and some little team bonding, which we did in class, how it motivates everyone to get together and get talking. I noticed after teaching this last week, today, woo, the roof was lifted off. There was lots of noise, lots of talking because I'd got you all chatting together, eh? Brilliant. Okay, a little bit different. So a mentor does not have to be someone in your workplace. Okay, a mentor is someone, it could be a family member, but we'll try and keep it professional. It's someone that has a bit of status. It's someone that is definitely more experienced than yourself. It's someone that you may feel, it depends why you're going to them in the first place as well. What is the reason that you need a mentor for? Is it that you need a mentor because you're starting your own business? If that was the case, you'd probably find someone that already is running a business. You know that they started it up from scratch and all the challenges they've had. And that is someone you're going to go to make sure you're covering all your steps. If it's someone like coming to do the HCA course, you might know someone in your workplace or in your personal life that is now a registered nurse or in the medical field. They might be someone you go to and you explain things that you've been doing and get feedback from them. So the person might not necessarily know answers to your questions, but that person will actually be able to show you how to find the answers, show you how to be better than you are, okay? Give you the knowledge and the strategies to get to the end successfully, okay? So mentors, it's a tricky one to explain. Here's some of the goals that a mentor has that you might be able to help. And that is, they have a start and finish date. So counseling can almost be your mentor of some shape or form. You know when you've got to go, and you know when the end date is. You actually sometimes make that date. They don't. Some of the mentors hopefully are flexible, and you can just pick up the phone or text them and say, hey, is there any chance we can catch up? That's if they're delegated to you. So I do know if you do a master's degree or a PhD, you actually get delegated a mentor, and you should be able to email them and call them anytime. But it's purely to do with your the master's degree that you're doing. It has a start and finish, and it's for one particular reason. Yeah. So sometimes it's structured, like I said, with a master's. Sometimes it's unstructured because it could be a family member. Who knows? So that's all about mentoring. Have a think about that. Have you been a mentee, or is there someone that you go to that you look at as being a little bit of a mentor? I want to say role model, but be careful of role model, because a mentor doesn't have to be the best in the field that you're asking them about. They just have to be someone that can actually guide you into the right place. Hope that makes sense. There's some great YouTube. Oh, here's some skills. There you go. Have a look at that. And then I think on the actual PowerPoint, I have, oh, there we are. Oh, go back. There's some great YouTube clips. So when you go to the PowerPoint, please get to the end and watch. They're only like 2 or 3 minutes long. They may take a little while to come up, but they put another emphasis on it. So mentoring. This one's great about how to be a good coach. It's really good. And then there we go, Steve Jobs on how to be great leaders. So please have a look just to refresh, just to recap. And an example of where you have been or seen leadership, where you have seen or where you have been the coach, either, where you have had a mentor or you've actually been the mentor, an example of where you have seen that, and then grab one of those examples and break it down and let me know about the qualities that they had and the qualities they may not have had that they could actually get better on. Yay! All the best. Stop.